Well, the episodes are up on YouTube, and also Spotify has a video option.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So so the video is
so
up
the full
on
versions. Oh, okay.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. But Instagram is just little snippets. That's just for marketing, I guess. But full video is up on YouTube and Spotify as well. Okay. Some people prefer the video. Actually, a lot of people prefer the video. 70% prefer the video on Spotify.
Yeah, I mean, I have to be honest. I'm like, I listen to Spotify when I'm on the move, so I don't watch videos.
Yeah.
But I would agree because, I mean, just seeing somebody and I would say the lips moving and the body language gives so much more than just listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it does. Not my thing. Not my cup of tea. I only listen to podcasts. I like doing other stuff at the same time.
Multitasking is... Yeah, one of my, I would say, skills, but I'm not sure how good I am in that. I tend to do too much.
We all do at times.
Yes.
Well, I'm very glad you wanted to come talk to me.
Thank you for inviting me.
We started talking a little bit about, before the podcast, you were asking, well, why am I here? Well, I think you have an interesting life story. I think for me, everyone who moves to a different country, and starts working and establishes themselves is very impressive to me. Okay. Obviously, I was just 5 years old when we came to Sweden, and I've followed my parents' journey from transitioning from former Yugoslavia to today's Sweden, which are two very different societies in many ways.
Absolutely.
So I love to talk to people who have had a similar journey.
Yeah, I would say I feel like Sweden is my last stop, but I've been places, so I would say I wouldn't exclude any other option in future. So
especially today when it's this snowy, huh?
Yeah, I would say that's one of the most negative things that I do not appreciate about this country. But yes, there's so many other things that are so good. So I would say
very true.
Yeah.
Let's start from the beginning. I think you and I were born in the same country.
Yes.
Back then. It's no longer the same country.
How old are you?
I was born in 1988 in Sarajevo.
Okay, I'm 4 years older than you then.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm born in Croatia, right?
In Bosnia-Herzegovina, in Mostar.
Also in Bosnia.
So we are Croatians from Herzegovina.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
So my parents got married in Mostar, and
okay.
that's where they lived when they first got together. So I've never been there, but I hear it's very, very beautiful.
Yeah, I feel it's so exciting to meet people actually from the same area. I also have a friend here she's from the same city actually where I live, and we are neighbors. We've seen each other a couple of times before, but when I moved here, we just became friends.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And did you know when moving to Sweden that you had someone from
No.
So it was just randomly?
Yeah.
Oh,
I got married, and actually I got married when I came here, but I moved here with my ex-husband. Yeah, and back then I was living in Istanbul.
Okay.
Yeah.
So. All right. A lot of places you've been then.
Yeah, but my journey started quite early, I would say. You know me for, I would say, a couple of months now, but you don't know so much about me, but so I will start from, I would say, where I was born.
Sure.
So, it's a quite small country, and I always felt like I need more. Even at the early age, I felt a bit, how to say, I wouldn't say pressed or limited in any way, but kind of. So when I was 15, that was my first, I would say, huge step. I started modeling. It was quite early, and back then it was normal that girls who are 15 or even, I would say, minimum 15, that they start so early, and for fashion industry it wasn't such a big deal.
Right.
I mean, today we discuss about whether children should or not, of course, but back then it wasn't such an issue. I would say the bigger problem is my environment actually dealing with, or seeing my parents in a way of, why would you let her to do that? Like, what kind of parent are you? So it wasn't easy. I was always a bit more mature than my peers, I would say. I would say that for myself. I have a dad. He was always, very loving and very supportive. And I would say that we are quite alike. And he actually supported me, but in a very, I would say, nice way. And I will never forget that. So I was 15. Of course, most of the parents would be, no, you're too young and it's too dangerous. But he knew me. And in some way, I feel like that he saw a reflection of himself in me, because I feel like we're these like free spirits that love to do things, that need challenges and so on. So first I got a rejection. No, you have to finish your school. But I'm very persistent when I want something. So it took a while for me. But then, one day he just sat with me and he said, you know what? But I have to say that I had a guardian, so I had a adult person with me the whole time on that journey. So he accepted, and he said, I don't want you to come one day and just blame me for things that you could have done but didn't at this age. This is very hard for me, but I will allow you with certain conditions. So I moved to Italy.
And
I had a guardian, and she had her children as well, so I was with her the whole time. So I would say that's how I started.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that is of course any parent would be scared of.
Nightmare for me now when I think I have a son. I mean, but I do in some way now, being a parent, it looks scary, but I'm proud of my dad. I think we're pretty much alike. And now I see how I treat my son as well. I give him freedom, and, I try to, I send him actually, his grandparents live in Turkey and my parents live in Herzegovina. So he spends a lot of time there and in Turkey, and he's never been attached to me like a very, I can't live without you. And I didn't want him to be this because I'm like that.
Yeah.
And I feel that stems from my dad as well. So it was kind of a generational thing, and he's very independent now at the age of 6. So I think it's a bit genetical thing.
I can imagine that. Before we get to the modeling and the move to Italy, tell me about like life in, I guess you were in Mostar for your childhood, or did you have to move?
Yeah, no, I was, the place where I lived is Široki Brijeg. So the Mostar is just where the hospital is, because the place where I live, or where I lived, is very small.
Okay, that's like a little village outside of Mostar? Or?
It's a small town. Okay. It's a town, It's like 30,000 people there.
Yeah, sorry, my geography skills for Yugoslavia are crap.
No, I don't remember Yugoslavia. I mean, I was so young, but it doesn't matter. So I went to school there, and as I said, at the age of 15, when I stopped, I did my last 2 years in high school as well, but this was after I came, so I would do the exams and everything. So my professors and the school was also supportive about it. Well, maybe not supportive. Probably they were at some point judgmental about it, but nobody showed that. They showed some kind of support, or, when I had exams, I really felt that, they had this understanding that I was on the go all the time. So everything went well. But what I remember from before, honestly, when I think about my life before, it feels like I've lived maybe 7 lives by now. I'm almost 40. Almost. When I say almost, it's like in 1 month. 40. So I feel like everything was yesterday, but also 100 years ago. I cannot remember even everything in my life. Like my memory, I don't have capacity for that because it was so intense and all over the place.
Right.
But one thing I know about my childhood, that it was amazing. I have amazing parents. What do I see amazing in my parents is that I was born in 80s, and that where we come from, we would say society is pretty much, women should do this and men should do that. There's this, I would say, gender inequality, but in sense that, women got their whatever they wanted, their rights, but also kept the housework and everything. So practically you do 2 jobs, and then you have men that work and, come back home, and, again, woman takes care of children, and so on and so on.
Right.
So I would say to this day, this is something normal in certain cultures, like even here in Sweden, even not so much, but again, it happens. My dad wasn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was quite strange for 80s for a father to be 100% involved in his children and the raising of the children and doing housework and everything. Mm-hmm. So that was my dad. That's one thing that I remember, and this, I don't know how much that helps me today, in relationships, because I have huge expectations from men regarding what they need to do. I always say it's good, but also, it's standards are quite.
Daddy should have slowed down a little bit.
Yeah, it's really hard to say, but yes, I would say that regarding that, I could see. So nobody had to tell me to do this, and this, because I witnessed that.
Yeah.
I saw firsthand how men can.
Right.
And, you can share, you can be an equal partner. And that's how I saw my parents. And my brothers are like my father. They take care of themselves. And for me, it's really hard to understand that not everybody's capable of doing that. So they gave us so much love, and they never, hesitated in showing emotions as well. My father was also on that side he was very open about loving us and supporting us, which was also strange. Maybe not so usual to show your emotions to your children. So I would say my childhood was very nice. We didn't have like fancy stuff. Maybe we had, I would say, financial struggles, but love we had. And I think that's something that, today when I think about it, I'm so happy about it, because I see so many broken families and children that came out broken, and I feel sad about it, because that's the base, that's what makes you into a person you are when you grow up. And I would want that for everybody, for every child. And that's what I'm trying to do with my son as well. And when I think about, I would say we all have issues. And when I think about my inner child and what needs to heal, I always think, what should I heal? My childhood was perfect.
Right.
I don't know. There are patterns, of course, that I need to work on. But then I do remind myself that my childhood was still ongoing when I moved out. So it doesn't have to be the early phases of the childhood, but I was still a child when I left home.
Yeah.
And then I had to face the world. I thought I was ready, but how ready can you actually be? Yeah. As a child?
No, at 15, no one's ready to face the world.
Yeah, no, I thought I was ready, but I mean...
Yeah, everyone thinks they are.
I was lucky, I would say. Nothing very bad happened.
That's good.
It went well, I would say, but it was not something that any other parent would do at that time, so
it's very interesting, because the family situation that you describe, it was similar in my childhood, and a lot of people always, when they hear like that my family fled from the war when I was 3 or 4 or 5 years old, they're like, oh, that must be so rough and all that. But I had both my parents, and they were very loving parents who took care of me and my brother, and really I think I had a much more stable and easier childhood than most people who never had to deal with any kind of war. Because that's the most important, as you say, like what kind of relationships you have at home. And I was very lucky in that sense as well.
I would say when we talk about war, I always say I don't remember. I remember everything, but I started therapy a while ago, and some stuff started coming out, and I still feel like there are some stuff that I cannot deal with. I still hear songs that we used to listen in basement when we say, when we didn't have any other thing other than radio, like no TV or anything else. That was our window to the world. So no social media like today or anything else. So I still feel like triggered by some songs that were played back then. And it's just weird because I don't feel pressured about it. What I do think about is our parents and how they dealt with that. My mom had 4 children.
It must have been so stressful.
Yeah, but I'm thinking now, I have 1. What would happen now? I don't know how. Of course, we would make it somehow, but 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy to imagine.
Yeah, but what year did you move here?
We were in Sarajevo when the war started, so that would be 92 that we left Sarajevo to Podgorica, Montenegro. My mom's family is from Podgorica. So we or from Montenegro. So we moved there, and then in 94 we came to Sweden. So we were in Montenegro for a couple of years during the war. But yeah, it's just the same for me. I only have very positive, nice memories from those years. Only as I'm getting older, I can only imagine what my parents were going through. But for me and my brother and the rest of the kids in the area, was just, we were playing with new kids in a new area, and that was it.
Same.
Yeah, it's up to you how much you want to share about that period. But if you don't mind, like what was it like? Did you guys have to flee your town?
So I was 7 back then. And I do remember the times when we were just sleeping in the basement, and many of our family members died. And I do remember once, I don't know who exactly, but somebody came and to say to my mom that 3 of her cousins plus 2 neighbors were shot, or when they bombarded the city, they died. It was quite close to our house, and like scenes like that. I've never seen anything firsthand, but we were moved to Croatian coast, I would say. I'm not sure when. My memory is not so good. I don't remember the dates, but I do remember it was quite stressful for my parents. And my dad was away when he was sent off as a soldier as well. And back then, the phones weren't such a thing either, so we wouldn't know about him. And what's happening, so he would just like show up.
Right.
Yeah. It was a bit intense, but as you said, like we were children, so you don't think so much. You don't see it as something maybe so serious. I have to be honest, and this is when I think about it, I do have a memory, and it's I would say, I don't know if I would cry or laugh about it. I would say I didn't like school, so I would be happy because I don't have to go to school. It sounds so bad from this perspective, so today, but yes, I was really...
It's a child's perspective.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so of course I wasn't happy about the war, and we didn't have to go to school. There you go. I don't like school, and I work as a teacher. I didn't like school. Yeah, but it's nothing wrong about it. I mean, that is what a child thinks in one of those situations. Exactly.
Yeah. Which makes it so like sad when you see children in war, because you just don't understand anything as a kid.
Yeah.
So you
True.
Trying to make sense of something that crazy is
but I would
impossible.
love, for example, now from a perspective of a parent, I would love my son if we would be in a situation like that to have also, something to hold on and not think about things so serious. So I guess that's normal. Thing. But whenever I think about it, I'm like, you're ridiculous. How ridiculous. Like, you are happy that you don't have to go to school. No.
We all have our priorities, right?
Yep.
The war is adult stuff. School, that's kid stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, which is how it should be. Okay, so your family was fairly spared then. You could move out to the coast. Yeah,
we were placed in some hotels. So it wasn't some private accommodation. It was I would say, like a refugee camp in a nice hotel.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we did school there as well.
Oh, you couldn't get away from school, huh?
Yeah, I don't have memories about that, honestly. I do remember that, oh my God, I do remember that we actually were very naughty there and we stole cigarettes, and I was 7, and because adults were smoking all the time, and we thought it was cool. Of course, we almost choked ourselves to death. But yeah, it was an interesting period, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were spared a lot of things, and luckily did not witness firsthand any of the atrocities that were happening at that time.
That's good.
So, but I do, when I still like watch documentaries and hear people's stories, I just can't sleep. It's really disturbing. My mind cannot absolutely comprehend some stuff. I mean, we do hear nowadays as well in any other country. Yeah. And I still, I cannot deal with that. I would say, I wouldn't say that I'm hypersensitive or about it, but kind of, if it disturbs my sleep. Yeah. And it's for strangers, I would say, nobody close to me. So yeah. Completely not. Yeah.
Very understandable. Very understandable. On the smoking part, I have friends from Poland who smoke a lot, all the time, and then they went to, I think it was Montenegro, for vacation, and they were like, "Holy shit!"
Okay. So we thought
these people smoke a lot.
No, yeah. Oh my God.
I haven't seen anyone come close to the Balkans when it comes to smoking cigarettes.
I have Turkish people.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Turkish people smoke a lot. Yes. Yeah. Yes. It wouldn't even compare to our Balkans, but yes, like somewhere there.
I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that I don't remember if it's Swedish Sign Language or somewhere in Scandinavia, but that the sign for Yugoslavian is this. Like doing a smoking motion. Yeah. That's the sign for Yugoslavian.
Okay. Nice to know.
I don't know if it's true. Maybe I'm spreading misinformation, but I've heard it.
I've never heard, but yes.
It would make sense. I wouldn't be shocked if that was the sign.
Yeah, but I think things have changed a bit. I'm not sure about other countries, but where I live, it's kind of getting better.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I don't know about Bosnia though.
I'm not. Yeah, no, probably. Yeah, I mean, I do think that they still haven't, I would say, taken serious these laws against smoking inside, because I do get crazy when I'm there. I'm so used to not smoking.
Oh yeah.
I mean, not being in a room with smokers. Yeah. Because I'm like, I don't smoke, but also when I go out sometimes, which is like once in 6 months, like if I drink, I can like take a cig or something, but I'm not a non-smoker, and then I get really, smelly, and I don't like that. Yeah.
Yeah, same here. When I go visit family. No, well, I used to when going out every now and then. Yeah. But now when I'm, down in the Balkans and everyone's smoking indoors, I become so sensitive. I'm like, I can't be in here.
Passive smoker.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't in Sweden, you pretty much never are exposed to smoke unless you want to.
Yeah, true.
Because it's so cleaned up with all the restaurants and cafes and all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So it's crazy to go somewhere where everyone smokes indoors.
Yeah, no. I can never get used to that.
No. Understandable. All right. So then, did you spend those years from when you had to move to the coast due to the war until you moved to Italy? Was that all? Were you in coastal Croatia during those years?
No. We were. I'm not sure. Like really, when I think now, I can't even. The time frame is really something strange there. Yeah. But I think it was like months, not more than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you went back?
Yes. And then, situation just started getting better. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to explain that. It never gotten better, or like in a way that everything was fine at some point. I still feel that we have like tales of the war and everything.
Of course.
We still haven't recovered like economy, obviously, and everything else, but it's getting better, but yes, we went back to our routines, and I could be 8 8. I think maybe I was 8 back then. I'm not sure. And I just continued with my school. I was playing basketball in high school. Yeah, of course I was tall. So everybody was recruited. Everybody who could. Yeah. So I traveled with school a lot.
For basketball or?
Yeah, with basketball, and then also because the church is also involved in we have like religion classes and stuff. So I would travel with them as well. In Europe, in some countries, and it was nice. But I would say when I started high school, I was already a bit more, so I wouldn't say rebellious, but kind of, I started being a bit more, not so good girl. Yeah. I wouldn't say I was problematic, but I just felt like, okay, something needs to happen. I need things to happen. And, this is maybe not the place where I want to be. And I was bothered by so many stuff. Right. I was always bothered by the province mentality, I have to say. Of course, things have changed, and back then it was a bit more prominent than today. But this is one of the things that I like about Sweden, and which is funny because most people actually find it repulsive, the fact that people are very reserved and cold and mind their own business, while in our countries, and also I lived obviously in Turkey, so it's kind of same mentality, where there's a sense of community and everybody helps each other, and you can just you can count on people. They're warm, they have this warmth and everything, but also they're like with their noses up your ass in every other sense. So you can't have your privacy, which is, this and that. So when I moved to Sweden, people would complain all the time that people here are very cold, and like you can't just barge into your neighbor's house and ask for sugar. I'm like, I'm fine. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. This is me as well.
Yeah, I hear you.
So when it comes to that, I always wanted to just avoid being in such an environment because it wasn't me. I didn't feel, I just didn't feel it, unfortunately. I know that things have changed now, how much, I'm not sure because I don't spend so much time there. Yeah. But, still, I don't think you can have so much privacy and just live your life without being,
Yeah. Especially in the smaller towns.
Yeah, I would say that's something.
That, I guess it's probably in smaller towns in Sweden, people are more in your business than in bigger towns in Sweden, probably as well. But definitely to a different degree in the Balkans. Yeah. Have you ever thought about why you felt this way? Like, one could assume that growing up in that environment, that's the kind of culture one would appreciate.
Yeah, you know what? I would say maybe, I wasn't a person of rules. I don't like to be restricted. I was even questioning my, religion, and because of course we all grew up in this Catholic environment where were supposed to do things, of course, which at a certain point I accepted, and that was my childhood. But then, I started having questions, and, I wanted to be free. I wanted to do stuff that I want to do that are maybe not encouraged or seen as something good in the society. Nothing bad, but just, usual limitations that are, I would say, for women in many cultures nowadays. So I just felt that, I need to be somewhere else.
How early did you feel that?
I would say 14, 15. It was quite early. I was really eager to just go. And I still don't, this feeling still hasn't left me. I really need to leave my comfort zone after a while. I strive for change. If I stay in the same place for a long time, I feel a bit suffocated, which is not necessarily good for everything. But when it comes to changes, absolutely, change is always So yeah, moving to Sweden, getting married and having a child was also I would say challenge for me.
Yeah.
Because that meant, okay, Birdie, you are caged now, and not in a bad way, but your little journey of traveling around the world has to come to an end, because now you have this child, you have this big responsibility.
Yeah.
But we are trying to balance out, so we travel together, and he's getting bigger now, so we are trying to find something in between. Of course, I can't do like before. But every period has its, I would say, good side.
Of course.
Yeah.
Did you at that age already know that you wanted to do modeling, or what were your ideas of what you want to do besides just get away?
Yeah. Well, I mean, not in a way that I really just wanted, I wasn't tortured or anything, but the idea of just not being there and being somewhere else, as in discovering other countries and just like getting to know the world around us. I was always in some weird way aware that we are just like a little, drop in the ocean of everything. And, I just want to see the rest of the ocean,
Yeah.
And I was curious, I guess. And I thought I was completely sure that I'm super mature, as we said before. At 15, you're nothing. But it went well. I wouldn't say I faced any big challenges, because I would say the fashion industry is a very toxic environment, and everybody knows that. And back then it was even more than today, because, people are forced to take responsibility nowadays, so they're very careful.
People could get away with more back in the days.
But I would say I was okay.
That's good.
Yeah, it went well for me. But I did have a break in between, because that was 15 to maybe 19, and then I started studying. I couldn't take it anymore, because I felt a bit overwhelmed.
By the modeling?
Yes, not by the whole process, but I would say the system, would say value system, or the system of values in that industry is very broken.
Yeah.
And I've seen, many, I would say, girls struggling with their own identity. Why? Because you're exposed to so many unnecessary things, like you're always externally validated, and from there you tend to grow in a person that seeks for external validation.
Right.
You become a people pleaser because you want to get certain jobs, and everything is just, I would say, formed around how you look like. You're never pretty enough. You're never skinny enough. You're never this. You're never that. So I think it's a very sensitive environment for a girl to grow in, and when I look from today's perspective, I'm just lucky nothing serious happened. But also, on the other hand, all these are also very challenging situations with a lot of struggle, I would say, nothing again very serious, that brought many lessons in life, that brought a lot of growth, that made me very resilient, more resilient than maybe my peers. Gave me more wisdom, as you go through a bit harder things in your life, you collect these. So I would say that, it did cause, I would say, issues in my head. Of course it has, but at the age of 19, I just moved back, and I lived in Zagreb in Croatia, and I studied. But back then, so this is what I wanted, because I really wanted to take a step back from that. I did not like it, and I did not like what I was becoming. You cannot you cannot avoid or escape body dysmorphia, or this feeling that you're never enough.
Right.
It's never enough, regardless. You can be the prettiest girl in the world. There's always somebody prettier, somebody better, and here you would think that, you're a child. Nobody sees you as a child because you're just a mannequin for them. And nobody thinks what they say. So they would say whatever, and then nobody deals with the consequences of what they say. Nobody will get punished for that. And then you have just a bunch of broken little girls that grow up as women with many issues if they don't deal with that. Now that's something that I try to do, to deal with that. So I would say a big part of my 20s I spent in Zagreb, and I had a regular life. But then I was in a long relationship back then. We broke up, and then I just felt, okay, it's time to do something else. Again, change. I feel like, no, I can't be this. This is not, I'm not the 4 to 8 or how do you say 7 to 5 sitting in office person. Right. Oh my God, no. Yeah. So I got an offer from China.
From China?
Yeah. So I moved to Beijing. I literally packed my bags and moved to Beijing. Okay. And my parents were, okay. So
Here we go again.
The history is happening. No, they're so used to me. It wasn't such a, I would say, surprise. No. But I was already 27. Mm-hmm. In a fashion world, that's like retirement age.
A dinosaur.
Yeah, good point. But yeah, so I accepted, mind you. So I moved to Beijing. Okay. And I spent some time there on and off.
What was the offer for Beijing?
So I had an agency there, and
modeling.
Yeah. So I was just back. Yeah, I could have mentioned.
Okay. So in Zagreb you were doing other stuff.
Exactly. Okay. No. So it was just back to same, but this time I was more mature, and I would say more prone to manipulation. Right. So this time I actually used those skills to really do the job and, just go around all of these bad things that happened before. Right. You still cannot be like, I would say, completely bulletproof in these situations because you're a woman and the world is nasty. And the beauty standards are... not sometimes too much, always too much. Yeah. So you never win. That women can never win. But yes, so I went back to that, and it was better this time.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, it is. I wouldn't say it's surprising. I know enough about the modeling industry to know that these things happen, but it's also like you could see it be a different way where models are obviously become models because they're good looking and that's why people choose models. You could see it going the other way, that people get so much validation as models. I'm a little bit surprised to hear that you're never enough. There's that much pressure in that sense. Of course I know that it's there, but I would imagine there's both push and pull, like, oh, you're gorgeous, you're this and that.
No, I think that's the glamorous side. That's, how people from the outside see it. I think it's a bit more complex on the inside, and, only insiders know how this works. I think it's detrimental for mental health.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine that.
Yes. So it's a daily thing. It's not just something that just comes and goes. Yeah. That's your job. And, as I said earlier, there are no filters in industry. Nobody cares what they say, how other people feel it, and nobody cares about your feelings. Right. Like generally. So, it was just ruthless at some point. But as I said, when I moved to China and when I started the tour again, I was mature, and then I meant business. Yeah. I went and I was calculating this time, and it wasn't easy. This time was even harder because they couldn't manipulate me. That was it was even harder for you? it was harder because it was new set of problems. Because
now you're a problem to them, huh?
Yeah, so it's easier to handle girls, especially girls that come from Eastern Europe. And I would always feel sad when I would meet girls from Eastern Europe that really don't have any choice because they come from really poor cities and families, and for their families they're the only source of money. So they had to stay there regardless of what was happening. Like I could always choose. I had my family, I had like my safe zone, but I was always like I had this pride in whatever, I will just, go through it. I will close my eyes and go through it. Like I will face it. And sometimes I can actually be very critical on myself and think, I haven't done much, this perfectionist side of me. But, if I stop and just close my eyes and try to reflect and try to think of the past years, I've done a lot. And I really sometimes need to remind myself about these things and, say to myself, congrats. Because all the time I have this, you're not enough, you're not enough, you're not enough. And that's something that I'm really trying to get rid of. Yeah. And it's going well, I would say.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Man, that is such a good point that you just made, that I haven't thought about before, that these girls in that situation also have the pressure from the family, if that's the main source of income.
Yeah,
that is
maybe not such
another layer of complication.
Maybe not as in a way that these their families are pressing them, but maybe that they feel responsibility, that they need to, because otherwise who will take care of them? Yeah, and all these girls were quite young, and I would say always the oldest one. So I would be mothering everybody. Issues on issues. Everybody had issues. Yeah. So, but I would say that in that period, I was a bit more aware of everything, and I could handle stuff. Of course, you can still not, be 100%. You cannot protect yourself. You have a brain and heart, and then, you get hurt by words, by people. You cannot avoid that. But still, you learn, and I've learned a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine. Man, that is some life. Some life story, some learning adventure to go through that kind of stuff in your youth, and then at 27 again. I can imagine it's so different going into it especially when you had some time away from it, maybe had some time to reflect about what you went through in your youth. Yeah, as well.
Part of me actually, it's a love-hate relationship where you really don't want to go in that environment, but you do enjoy the travelings. You do enjoy everything good that comes with that. So I always thought about these things, and I would always minimize, the problem side. And when I went back, I realized, okay, nothing much has changed. But on the other hand, I mentioned China, right? So I started working on markets that are a bit less, I would say, wild as France or Paris or Milan, London.
Is that where you were the first time around?
Yeah, these are a bit harsher. These are, centers of fashion. And I would say you either earn a lot of money or you barely survive. There was nothing in between there. And, it's just it's not good. While you have these other markets, which if you ask any model, scout, or big agency, they say, that's not even, that doesn't even count like fashion if it's not in Paris or Milan. But there are a bunch of other markets out there, or I would say were, because the situation has changed since I stopped working. For example, China, Turkey. Turkey is extremely big textile industry. They have a lot of shootings, and they have a really good fashion scene. And in these I would say markets, you weren't supposed to be as, I wasn't supposed to be skinny. Nobody asked me to be super skinny, as for example, you had to have, I'm not sure if you know the measurements in modeling world. So it's very rigid in specific areas. So they were a bit more flexible. So you wouldn't be so much into, dieting and stuff. But yeah, I would say I saw a perfect job opportunity there because they were paying and you weren't hungry and you wouldn't spend all your money on your apartment, your driver and so on. So you could earn money actually. And then I stopped care. Like, why would I care if you think that this market is not a fashion center, as long as I work and earn money and travel.
And are treated better.
Yeah. Okay. Treated better.
Oh.
Yeah. I was more mature. So I would be able to handle situations.
Right.
Were people different? I'm not sure. Are they different today? Not sure either. But it was better.
Okay.
So I was able to handle situations and, close the deals by myself.
We've talked a lot about the negatives, but what were some of the positives? What did you enjoy and why did you keep doing it for a number of years in your youth first and then coming back to it as well?
Number one, and always traveling. My God, like I remember in China, there was a period when I would fly 6-7 times in 5 days. And, some days you would just wake up and you don't even know where you are anymore. Yeah. What city? Are you home? Are you in Shanghai or Guangzhou or something? I don't know. So it was very stressful, but at the same time, it's just, again, love, hate.
Yeah.
You love it.
Excitement.
You love this exactly exhaustion and the fact that you're just on the go and you sleep and live on planes and airports. Yeah. I love that. I would say I need my time and I love to have this moment of boredom, but I always love that, something is happening.
Right.
I'm somewhere. I need to go do this and that. So yeah, I would say that would be number one.
Nice.
Always. But also you get a bit, we are all vain. It's a vanity fair out there. So yes, of course, you working as you getting paid for how you look is something. And it was even more before social media. I mean, I don't want to say anything bad, but, nowadays with social media, you get Instagram models as well. It wasn't like this back then, models were models and you had agency representing you. And we didn't have platforms like today where you can just, share your pictures and nobody knows if it's just like you by yourself or somebody representing you. It's very blurry nowadays.
Right.
But back then, you had agency who represents you and you're a model, and that meant something at that point, to us at least.
Yeah. No, I mean, it would, as in many things, when there's gatekeepers who maintain a certain quality or whatever, of course it becomes a more status thing. Now it's in some ways very good, but in some ways not so good. That now pretty much anyone can do anything from anywhere.
Yeah.
If they know what they're doing.
Yeah, everybody got their 5 minutes of fame.
Everyone can try at least.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I guess that would be the reason number 2, other than just traveling.
Yeah.
And just for me being independent, and I was never a very nostalgic girl. So I've never had moments where I would miss my family so much. I love them to death. Like I have such a good relationship with my family, all of them, my siblings, my mom, my dad. But I never felt, and I always felt bad about it, how, other girls, they cry, they call their mom and they cry, and I've never felt like this. I was just happy because I'm out there. I'm just like on my own. I'm independent, I know I can count on them. I know we can call each other. We still do it every day. But I never felt, I need to go home. And, if I don't, I will just, break down. No, I was always a bit, let's go.
Independent.
Yeah, and I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm the same, and I've sometimes considered like is there something wrong with me? Should I feel more when I'm away from the people that I love?
True.
I don't know. I guess people are just different.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah.
So no, I did feel, and I still feel, also I have a son now. I always say I have a son.
I can imagine that's even...
It's a different perspective.
That's different, yeah.
Yeah. But also, as I said, he does spend time in Turkey at his grandparents' house and at my parents' house. And, those moments where I get for myself, I know he's well taken care of. So I don't have this, no, I need to see my baby. He's enjoying. He's completely in his own world. And I really think that he got that from me. Because that's me. I wouldn't say disconnected, but I was never so attached to something that I didn't feel, okay, now I can't be without it. No.
Yeah.
Just let's go.
I hear you.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Was there also, like you mentioned, the traveling? Was there also like a life of luxury with hotels and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, not always.
No.
Depends. Yeah, depends. I mean, yes and no. I would say.
Yeah, depends on the gig.
Yeah.
Okay.
There were nice, glamorous moments. There were less, and it depends on the job and the country. Yeah.
How was working in China?
I mean, it was good regarding work, but it took a while for me to get used to the environment, the mentality. I've never learned, I almost said German, Chinese. I've never learned Chinese, but I do. After a while, you really do. Like, you pick up some words. And, but I've never bothered because I was on and off. I was traveling in between as well. I spent some time in Malaysia as well, in Kuala Lumpur, and
nice.
So when it comes to China, it was a really, I would say, long period of adaptation and adjustment. So it's really hard to, without sounding very judgmental, it's really hard to explain the experience of this adjustment to life in China. Everything is different. The food is different. People have, sometimes I felt that they generally don't have any sense of empathy that they are born without, because I couldn't reach them emotionally. It was really hard. I felt like I've never, when I have a conversation with somebody, it's really just surfacing, never going into depths, or that you cannot be very open and emotional because they just look at you and do this.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so
even,
I felt
even
like,
when it's someone that speaks English, where you don't have
like
the language barrier.
there was never any kind of deep connection, long conversations, understanding, a missing family. No, maybe I met maybe 2 girls in the whole period of living there. So that was a bit, I would say, hard to understand. But I felt like it's not just a different country. It felt like a different planet at some point. No, I have to be honest.
Yeah.
But then the first time when I actually went back home, I was like, I miss that place. Like, I hate it, but I want to go there. It's very strange.
What did you enjoy about it?
I just got used to it. I don't know. I probably started enjoying these things because, we are all judgmental about things that are not where we feel uncomfortable in, without going in with an open mind and thinking, okay, now I will just let myself go, and whatever happens. And I feel that, this first impression, or we talked about första intrycket in the course. So I felt that I relied too much on the first impression, which was not good. And then I got all judgy, and I guess I think I should have not do that. But then again, you learn. I guess I learned a lesson there. Just because something is completely different or not understandable to me, that I should judge it without giving it a chance or try to think from their perspective. which I do today. So I would say that was a problem, which wasn't a problem. I got used to it. Just took a while.
Got it.
Yeah. So.
All right. Tell me about Zagreb in your 20s. What were you doing when you were away from modeling?
I was studying.
What were you studying?
What?
Yeah.
Fashion. Yes. So I was on a fashion technology university. Yes. So textile technology. Yes. So it was quite connected to my profession, and I wanted to settle and start something, and since that was something I was doing, and I always liked to draw and do my own stuff. Oh, that's something very specific. When I was really small, I used to do stuff like do my own things and redesign stuff. So I'm like, okay, this could be something, I can connect these two things. So at that point I was designing also a bit, studying, working, and had a really normal life, really like city life. My friends from my hometown were living there as well, so it was kind of a very, very regular life, which at some point, I guess I knew myself very well. Yeah. So I felt it coming. So it's, I have these moments of rebirth every now and then. It just happens. I have to it's like coming out of a cocoon or something like this, rebirth, phoenix or something. So it happened.
Do you also get the opposite after being away in the world for a while? You want to go back into a cocoon? Go back to like something settle?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's always, I feel like with me, it's a big bang. And then, in this big bang, when it's messy, I get used to the mess.
Yeah.
So I function in that. But also after a while, you need to, okay, now I need to, just sit and relax for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after relaxing for a while, get bored.
I have to be honest, it's a bit scary.
Yeah.
I have to be honest, because I feel like, I need to make peace with that, with that part of myself, and, find something that will balance all of that, because I don't want to. Go through life and always, not being able to, just find that. Or maybe that's the beauty of it. I don't know. Do I really need to? I'm still trying to explore this side. Do I really need to have this peaceful life? Because, it's not sustainable as a parent, or if I get in a relationship that I always need to be somewhere and do something. That's the scary part.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I get sometimes, okay.
Have you seen those like couples that live in a van?
Yeah.
And they just drive all around the world and have kids in the van and stuff.
Yeah,
Not for you.
I'm too comfortable. I'm too comfortable. Like,
same here.
Yeah, I need to be not on four wheels. Yeah, no.
But maybe there's a more comfortable version of that, like having a traveling family.
Yeah.
No?
Absolutely.
Would that be interesting?
Kind of, yeah. But I think, I guess it all depends who you partner with.
Yeah.
Everything else is easy to fix.
Yeah, very true.
But I think that's the hard part.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Finding the puzzle piece that fits.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I hear
true.
Yeah. So you wanted to do like your own designs for clothing? Is that what you were studying for?
Yeah, it was kind of an idea from back then, since this is something that I love to do. I was always redesigning my stuff and like destroying dresses and t-shirts and making new ones. And in the beginning, I think my mom was a bit like, why are you doing that? And then, I noticed like, oh, she can do this. And then she was like, look, she did this. So this is hers. And,
Yeah.
So at that point, I thought, okay, this is it. But now when I see it, maybe it was just a phase. I still love fashion, like in every aspect. But also I choose to, keep the distance in a way. Like,
How come?
I guess I still get offers.
For modeling?
Yes. It's like, I always say like, I'm a bit tired because I stopped. I would say last really, really serious job I had was 8 years ago before I gave birth. And after that, maybe I had 2, 3 offers, which I accepted. But, you know, it just feels like I'm done with that finally. And, you know, some things still do trigger me. Mm-hmm. And I've done this, you know, inner work and trying to, you know, heal the parts of me that need to be healed. And every time I want to, you know, approach this, I get triggered by something. So I'm still not there. And, you know, I don't have to, in a way. I have to be honest, during a therapy session, I spoke with my psychologist and she said, well, you know, for you to be able to completely heal, you will have to distance yourself from the environment that triggers you at this point. When you get these tools that you need to, you know, heal yourself, healing is a journey. You don't just hop from spot A to B so fast. So it takes time. Maybe then you will be able to, you know, exist in this environment without being triggered. But, I just feel it still triggers me, and I don't think it's worth it. I live a pretty healthy life. And yeah, I just feel like, do I need this? Maybe one day would be something that I would accept, but at this moment, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very, it's such a popular path to take. I mean, modeling or fashion, anything, any work of that sort, that's kind of the reason why people can misbehave, because there's always new young girls or boys, for that matter, who want to go into the industry. Yeah. But at the same time, everyone knows that, like, this is crazy.
It is crazy. No, it never stopped being crazy. Yeah. We just started being a bit more flexible regarding who works and what is allowed and what is not. And I guess people having to take the responsibility for their acts and their behaviors probably, you know, just calmed down everything. But I don't think in its essence that something big changed. I don't think so. And I think that's what triggers me, that, you know, I'm too grown for this, and I don't think that's where I want to be. I really feel that, you know, I prefer being in an environment where I can really be me. I have my job. I don't need that. If I want to, I will do it. But as long as I don't feel, okay, this is for me, then I will just, you know, stay in my lane. Yeah. Yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah.
So you were in Zagreb studying, and then you got the offer for Beijing.
Yeah.
What happened after that? You said you went back home to Croatia? From Beijing to back home?
No, I never actually went back home. Oh, okay. That was my last time that I actually lived back in our countries, we would say. Yeah. When I moved to Beijing, then it was just Beijing, Hong Kong, and at one point I lived in Kuala Lumpur as well. And I got dengue virus while I was there. Yeah. It
must have been fun.
A horrible experience. Yeah, so that's my memory of Kuala Lumpur. Yeah, so that was very short, maybe a month or so, 2 tops. Yeah, and then in between Italy, for fashion weeks, I would say. I would not stay so long. I would just go do fashion weeks and go back. Okay. And then I started with Turkey. And Turkey started being kind of like my base because I had some contracts with some companies there. I did their shootings, and, you know, I found myself there. I love Istanbul. Istanbul is just another home for me. it's a, I would say, clash of everything in one place. And it drives me crazy, honestly. That city drives me crazy. And whenever I go to Istanbul, I want to like cry and laugh.
Yeah.
But I always have had this idea that I will actually spend the rest of my life there. Before I came here, I lived in Istanbul. And when I moved here, I was like, no, I can't stay here. Like, because I was so used to this, you know, chaos of Turkey that
vibration.
Yeah, this was really like really serious grounding for me. So
I can't. I've been to Istanbul only once, and I don't know if I can imagine a place more opposite of what Sweden is like.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah. I haven't been to India. I can imagine India is probably even more so, but Istanbul is madness. It's
madness. And I also came with this, you know, idea because I came from China to Turkey. I thought that China is a mess with its traffic and everything. You would just be spending traffic so much time and you get so frustrated. We had our drivers, so it's not like we had to do something. We were just supposed to be sitting in cars. Agency would pay drivers for models. So
right.
But when I came to Istanbul,
you're stuck in traffic anyway.
Yeah, when I came to Istanbul, I was like, no.
Oh yeah.
This can't be worse than Beijing. No way. It was 3 times worse. Yeah. So yeah, I felt, as much as I loved it, and I still love it, of course, one of my favorite cities in the world, I feel like I spent half of my day in traffic. Is it worth it? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that is the crazy thing, especially if like you gotta cross one of the bridges.
Yeah.
If you live on the opposite side of where you work, you basically live in a car.
Yeah, but I had a magical moment actually in Corona. Residents of Istanbul were not supposed to go out. They had their like curfews and stuff, but tourists were allowed to do whatever they wanted.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what month or year that was, but it was in the peak of Corona. Anyway, we were traveling, and we just rented a car. And that was the first time I was driving a car in Istanbul. First and last, because there was no one on the streets.
Oh, nice.
Everything was empty.
That must have looked crazy, huh?
Crazy. When you mentioned the bridge, that was my the first picture I had in my head. Oh, wow. I remember driving a car over one of the bridges. And I'm like, nah. But otherwise, it's a nightmare, I would say. Yeah.
I immediately think of like one of those zombie movies. I can't remember the one with Will Smith when they're in New York.
Yeah.
And when he's like just driving around the city because there are no cars and he's just loving it.
Yeah.
I bet that must be what it felt like.
Yeah.
Driving during COVID and
no, yeah. It was Istanbul. Just it was magical, I would say, because you would never I don't know if you will ever be able to see that in your life again. And then
hopefully never.
No way. But a couple of days ago, I got a message from my sister's husband. He was traveling to Istanbul, and he sent me pictures from one of the bridges as well. And when I saw the pictures, it was just a picture, not a video. Yeah. I said to him, I can hear.
Yeah.
I can hear the picture. He's like, I know.
Oh, man. You must have a much higher tolerance for big cities than I do. I can't stand it.
Well, yeah.
I was in Mexico City. I dated a girl from Mexico a few years ago, and we went over there, and it was, I think even worse than Istanbul in many ways when it comes to the amount of people. I can't remember how many people there are, but it's also like a mega city, over 10, 20 million people.
You get nervous?
It's just too much.
Yeah.
I went on the traffic is just, you don't even attempt to go in traffic. So we would take the subway somewhere, and on the platform, there's always more people than will fit on the train. So everyone on the platform is just standing there ready to pounce as soon as the train stops and the doors open.
Yeah.
On the train, there are people who know that this is happening on the platform, so they're on the train ready to run in the opposite direction to get off, because if they don't, they're screwed,
so it's chaos.
Yeah, so the doors open and it's like a scene from Lord of the Rings or something, just two big giant crowds just mashing against each other. God. Someone like trying to squeeze underneath everyone else, and
oh my God.
And we got on the train, which, lucky us. And once you get on, you don't move. The mass moves.
Oh my God, you
carried
by them.
You have no choice of where on the train you're going.
No, that's crazy. No.
You're just somewhere on the train, and for like, I don't remember what it was, like 5 or 6 stops until you're out of the city, city center.
How long? How much time have you spent?
I don't remember, but it wasn't that long. It was probably like 15 minutes where we were like completely smushed together. And then enough people got off that you could actually like stand on your own.
But this is a daily thing for them?
For them, it's probably a daily thing. For me, this was once, and I'm never doing it again, I hope.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just... I don't even know if I needed to get off on like one of the stops where it's busy. I don't even know how I would do it, because we were so mashed together that I literally couldn't move.
Yeah.
You would have to like, beat people like with your elbows.
I would probably get a panic attack or something.
Yeah, it's definitely not for the claustrophobic.
Yeah, no.
Subway in Mexico City.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I mean, when it comes to Istanbul, I've never been in such situation. They do have a lot of people in subways, but I would say it's civilized. Everybody is on their best behavior from my own experience, but it does remind me of China.
Oh yeah.
I do remember one incident. Same situation.
Right.
Exactly how you described it.
Yeah.
But I was so tired from work and irritated. I don't know, probably what can model be irritated about? We didn't eat. Probably. Just wanted to come home. You were shooting outside on -8 in bikinis, so that would be the problem. Anyway,
it was rough.
Yeah, I know.
That sounds rough.
I know. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but I never got sick, and that's a resilience.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it was the same situation, and I just got overwhelmed. Nobody was touching me or anything, but everybody was just eager to get on the train, and they were just like squeezing each other in like sardines. I swear, like I can still imagine them like hanging from those trains.
Yeah.
And I just screamed. And I screamed. Yeah, I screamed. And I said, "What are you, monkeys? Like, what's wrong with you? This is not a jungle." And yeah, I feel like I had a bit of, I just needed to vent. And it was a situation.
I'm sure that comment helped.
It did, because
everyone was like, yeah, you're right.
They do get intimidated by strangers. And I was probably the only Caucasian there. So yes, so it did have an effect. People backed off a little bit. They did, everybody just, they do have this reaction. It was strange. I never studied that, or I never thought about it, but I was surprised how they reacted. Right. And everybody just like, stepped down and, stopped. And I'm like, okay, good.
Well, to them, you were the crazy one. They were like, I'm getting away from her. What's going on?
Yeah.
I don't know what she's going to do.
Yeah, but I don't even know why I screamed. Like I just got irritated.
You just panicked.
Yeah. Probably, but yes. So I do understand that part.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, Stockholm is like big enough. That's like the perfect size in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
You would like it bigger?
No, I mean I have my moments.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Stockholm is a smaller city, but still big enough to see places, go places, and so on.
Yeah.
I mean I do feel it every day because I work in Kista and I travel to Telefonplan, so it's a lot of daily commuting.
Right.
And also it feels like just sitting on subway all day and. Before, when we had a car, the same thing. You sit in traffic, and I prefer being in subway where I can read, actually, not sit and drive.
Yeah.
So it's both. So you choose, what fits you the best. So I'm like, okay, commuting. Yeah, but what I love about Sweden, I mean, Stockholm especially, is how well connected everything is. So you basically don't even need a car.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere and it's just amazing. And everything is mostly on time. So yeah, you can plan your trips.
Yeah, that's my favorite part about Sweden.
I love it.
Everything just works the way it's supposed to work, pretty much.
Yes. Yeah.
It's lovely.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, so you were doing modeling in Istanbul. Is that where you met your ex-husband and decided to settle there for a while, or?
Yeah, so we met on set.
Mm-hmm.
I was working, I was shooting some, I met him in a bikini. So yes, it was a really love at the first sight. I was shooting, and I wasn't supposed to do that, actually. That was quite something that happened really fast. I got casted for something, and I met him.
You were not supposed to do that job?
Yeah, it was something, very like last minute thing, and we met there, and he was born here, but his parents are Turkish, so we met there.
Born here in Sweden?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I met like half Swedish. I mean, he's not half Swedish, he's Turkish.
Right.
I met him in Turkey, so that's how I ended up here. And
so he was visiting Turkey.
His dad lives there, so he was there. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So back then, and that was in that period when many, bombings and terrorist attacks happened in Istanbul. It was a very strange situation for the country back then. And
what year was this?
2016, I think. Yeah. So there was, if you remember, specifically Beşiktaş Stadium was bombed.
Right.
Yeah, and we lived 3 minutes away from stadium.
Oh, wow.
And literally passed the stadium maybe half an hour before this happened. So that was a huge scare.
Yeah.
And at that point, we just moved here.
Mm-hmm.
For him was kind of like coming back home, and for me it was just changing a country again.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I think I was already a bit tired. We were talking about going back to the cocoon, about starting from scratch again. I just got used to Istanbul and Turkey, and everything is fine, and now I need to redo it again. And but whatever, it's a nice country, let's try.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest is history. I'm still stuck here. I mean, not in a bad way. So yes, that's how I came here.
So you moved to Sweden in 2016 then?
End of 2016, yeah.
Okay.
It was December. Now 8 years.
Time flies, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I guess that could be then the country that you lived in the second longest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could it be?
Yeah, I mean, I lived in my country, I would say, when I say I spent 15-ish years in my country, and then, the rest was just like going around, moving.
How long were you in Zagreb for?
Maybe also 7 years.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so Sweden is now leading.
I guess you're officially settled, would you say?
You know what? For me, nothing is definite.
No.
It's very hard.
I hear you.
Part of me, one thing I will tell you for sure, my son is my priority number one.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we need to work around him. And co-parenting is working well. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But a big part of me knows that if it weren't for him, I would probably be somewhere now.
Yeah.
Maybe not in a way that, I would run away from Sweden, because I like living here and I love the possibilities and everything that I as a woman can have and enjoy here, which in other countries you can't. And that's, something hard for me to accept,
Mm-hmm. Cool. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but, I'm not sure if I would be here like 100% of the time.
Yeah.
I'd probably be more, adventurous and, explore still.
Yeah, understandable. Yeah. What I wanted to ask is, could you give like an example? Because it's so easy to take for granted living in Sweden. But what you say, like as a woman having a different amount of, different kind of freedom, like what are some things that you've experienced here that is different that you can't do in other countries?
I would say first, in many different cultures, I've seen single mothers. Do you even say a single mother for somebody who is co-parenting? I'm not sure. So I'm not like a single parent that, So yeah, I wouldn't say that in other countries you can be this, how to say, well, taken care of by the country and have a nice job. I mean, have a nice job, that's questionable. I have a nice job. And have, everything you need in order to raise your child by yourself and, not be worried about the future and other stuff, and not being worried about being attacked by somebody on the street. And, I feel safe here. I feel that I can say how I feel in my workplace as well. I do remember one time when I started working here, and I still have this, say Bosnian Croatian mentality where you need to be very careful about how you speak to your bosses because everybody is replaceable, and you don't want to mess with wrong people. And I think, I see people from my country still struggle with this and they're really stressed. But here I discovered that you can actually say no and be okay with that your bosses are okay with that. I'm not saying that the situation is same in every company, but I do remember one of my bosses telling me, you can say no, because he saw that I was hesitating about taking a specific task and I didn't want to say no. Former people pleaser here. Still recovering from that rehab. So he at some point said, you're not in your country. You can say no if you don't. It wasn't it did not come from the bad place, bad place where I felt like that he's, mansplaining me or anything like that. But I felt, because I've never thought about it. It's just a part of us because it's so deep ingrained in us, and we see it as a normal thing. If you don't do it, somebody else will. So we come from there.
You're supposed to be grateful for just having a job.
Yeah, kind of.
Don't cause any trouble.
Yeah. So exactly. So it was very surprising for me, and then I discovered, I still do have, I would say, but also it's part of my nature to, have this, that I have to do it. It's part of my job. I have to do it because, I want to keep the job. But then I discovered, okay, this is a bit more, nicer than I thought. And that's also one of the sides that I really love about Sweden. And that's also something other than me being, able to, survive through the month and not, worry so much about things. That keeps me here, actually. And I do, when I think about options and places that I could be and, maybe I would change tomorrow, but when I travel, one thing I do experience is that, after a while, let's say 2 weeks, 3 weeks of being somewhere else, I feel like, I'm not sure if I would be able to function here because this, and this, because of the things that I have in Sweden.
Yeah.
So that brings me back here.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
You mentioned the appreciating the culture of people not being in each other's business here. Did you feel like that immediately, or did you have, the similar feeling like many people do when they come to Sweden, like, it's so hard to connect with people, it's so hard to make friends and all that?
I've never heard before because I don't know so many people. I've never met so many people from Sweden or earlier. So my experience before coming here was like 0 to none. And everything I learned firsthand. For me was just, I have to be honest, we lived in Skanstull. And across...
I used to live there.
Ringvägen.
Hey, nice.
Okay.
I was on Grindsgatan, which is right parallel to Ringvägen. Nice.
So in front of our building, just the opposite building, had like big windows, and everything was just open. And this was the first time that I see people really not caring that other people are watching them. And for me, it was like a Big Brother situation. Why are you walking around in your underwear? and I can see you, and I'm just standing here. I don't have to see you. Should I look? Should I not? And then I'm like, I'm just confused. Why are you so comfortable about being in your underwear? What, like, people are cooking in their underwear. Everything is open. And I'm like, in my country, this would be like, ooh.
The irony of a bikini model asking this question, though.
I know. I know. I was like,
how are you so comfortable in your underwear?
Yes, but nobody's paying
of course,
you. Nobody's paying you. Why are you naked?
You can make money doing this. What's wrong with you?
Yes, exactly. So it was a bit of
hilarious.
it was a bit of a situation where I'm like, why are they like this? Why are they so comfortable?
Yeah.
Not just that. Why isn't everybody else staring at them?
Right.
It was a really weird situation for me, and I really like that. And now I'm that person. I love everything open, but I know if I go to my country, I have to just close everything because everybody's there. They see through your curtains.
Yeah.
And it's cute and whatever, but I prefer. I'm more of a I would say free person. But yeah, I don't like people in my business. Because I'm not in people's business, and I mind my own, and I like everybody else staying out of mine.
I hear you.
Honestly, yeah.
We met each other. When we met each other, we spoke Swedish.
Yes.
And your Swedish is excellent.
Yeah.
But we're doing the podcast in English. But we probably just as easily could have done it in Swedish, which is very impressive. How long did it take you to learn Swedish? Have you always have languages always come easy to you, or? Yeah,
one thing about me, I'm good with languages. Yeah. So I think when I lived in Italy, I picked up Italian in 3 months. Within 3 months, very fast. I learned Spanish by myself.
Oh wow.
And Swedish was my 5th language, actually.
Damn.
When I came here, and
did you stop at Swedish, or do you have even more?
I have this ambition of learning Turkish. I don't know how much. I don't see it now exactly at this point, like something doable, because it's just too much. I notice also like decrease in my abilities of using Italian and Spanish when I started Swedish, because I had to go deeper. I cannot just do it on surface, because I do live here, and I have to be honest. So 8 years now. The first 2 years I couldn't be so active because of the pregnancy. I had problems getting my personal number when I moved here.
Oh, okay.
And then I would say just throw the first 2 years in trash. 6 years it took me, and I would say it's good, but also I'm again very hard on myself with some stuff, and I think this is typical for Eastern European or Balkan as well, that we are so perfectionists regarding these things. So if I don't speak perfect, I will not use it, and I have this issue with languages and stuff that I think I'm good at. So I have to be very good at it to actually use it, which is completely wrong. You just have to start. Go for it, use it, because it cannot, evolve if you're just keeping it to yourself. So, yeah, it went quite fast. I have to say one thing, though. I suck at math. I'm not good at math. So, yes. So, some stuff were good.
Yeah.
I was really good in some stuff, and that's languages, art.
Yeah.
I would say music, but... Yes,
math
physics,
was not
chemistry,
your
thing. No. But also I think I use that nowadays as something to, show my students, because I'm a teacher as well, to show my students this human side of me, because they always think their teachers are so, they can do everything, they know everything. And then they get frustrated when they have a certain level of, let's say English, and why can't I be better, or when am I going to master this? And then I try to explain them that this is just a skill. It's not you. It's just a skill that you learn. It doesn't make you better or worse. and whether you're going to be good now or whether you're going to get this or that grade doesn't mean anything. And then I like to mention these things. Well, I'm talented for languages, but I have no talent for math. Maybe you do. Maybe you're better than me. So this human side of a teacher helps them actually to see things from a bit of a different perspective. You know, yes, it's just something that I do and I'm trying to do. It does not define me in any other way. So yeah, I suck at math.
Well, maybe you're gonna be good at math in the future.
I don't know.
Maybe you're just on your math learning journey still.
One thing I would never say never, but probably for this I would say never. I have no interest in that. So yes,
I hear you.
It's like coming from a very deep place in my soul and body. No math.
Got it. It's funny, the language thing. My brother and I, when we came to Sweden, apparently he is the type who, as soon as he picks up a new word, he goes and uses it all the time. Whereas I didn't want to speak Swedish for quite a long time. And my parents thought maybe something is wrong with me. Maybe I have some kind of learning disability or something, you know? But then it turns out like I was waiting for a year and then I opened my mouth and like spoke.
Would you say
not perfectly, but very, very well.
But would you say that you were bothered by your own abilities, which was
I don't remember. I was just 5 years old.
Okay.
But apparently I was just like observing.
Okay.
And I am still like that. I'm not very comfortable doing something until I'm fairly confident that I'm good enough at it. So I still have that mentality. I want to learn something properly before doing it.
Do you need a lot of time?
Depends on what it is, of course, but probably more than many people would be comfortable with, or many people would need to get comfortable, because I want to do stuff right. I don't want to mess something, especially when it can affect other people. Then I'm really like conservative, like let me ask all the questions before I do it. So apparently I was like that as a kid as well, like just very, very quiet and listening, observing, and then I started speaking.
Do you see that as a virtue or something you need to work on?
That's a good question. Probably depends on the situation. I think it's a virtue in many areas of life, but there are probably situations where you should be a little bit quicker on your feet, and in those it's definitely a weakness, I would say.
Do you feel that do you see it as some kind of fear or more of a
more of a responsibility to do things well?
Are you
like
a perfectionist?
Less now than I used to be, for sure. Starting my own business was a huge step in improving that. I studied engineering and a very like school was always easy for me. And I liked learning and I liked being good at something, and I never in my wildest dreams would have imagined starting my own business, like getting a job where you know what you need to do and doing it. That was my path. I believed. But then I started my own business pretty much by chance. I enjoy writing, and was doing that while I was, between jobs. And that opened up an opportunity to work as a copywriter for my friend's business. And one thing led to another, and I started a copywriting business. And that opened up my mind to like, oh, I can do things in a different way. I can do something even though the path is not.
Was that the first time you actually thought about that, or have you ever thought about having something of your own?
I honestly, I don't even think I thought of it in this situation either. It's just had someone wanted to hire me as a copywriter, I would have probably taken the job. But since I didn't have a copywriting education or any experience in that, no one would hire me for that. So I just started writing, and I started my own business just because that's the only way I could do it, really. So yeah, I still don't see myself as like an entrepreneur or anything like that. It just happened to be the path that was available to me because I like writing.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
But you are one anyway, so.
I guess.
Yeah.
People say that.
Big words throwing around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I'm just doing stuff. But after doing that, something changed in my mind for sure. Because after that, doing other new projects became so much easier. My family always had my parents always had the like mentality like, oh, you know, entrepreneurship, that's not really for us, you know, that's for other people.
Okay, including you, or just like for them?
I mean, they would say it's not, we're not of that cloth or whatever you say, you know.
Yeah.
Like they're teachers their entire lives, and back in Yugoslavia you were like a government employee, and my mom would tell me like, why don't you get a nice government job that's safe here in Sweden? It's like, no, it's a completely different thing here. So that's the kind of mentality I was brought up in, so I never saw myself running my own business. But now, like, I can't see myself doing anything else because the freedom that it comes with is just amazing. So yeah, but that's also something that you wanted, and you know, it's important that you have your dreams, and that regardless of what your parents or our parents think, it's still not fair. I think that, you know, they can advise us, of course they want the best for us, but kind of it feels like that through generations that people were just trying to, you know, to project their unlived we would say, dreams onto their children, and we are bringing a bit of more awareness to that nowadays, I feel. If you know what I mean. Yeah, for sure. So I do understand where your parents are coming from, and of course, why they say this, but I feel that regardless of how successful or unsuccessful you get on your own path, it's your path. And if you don't succeed, you've learned so much. Very true. Yeah. No, everyone is shaped by their experiences, and in their entire life before coming to Sweden, that was the good thing to do. That was a smart thing to do, you know, get an education, get a government job, and you're safe for life. It's a dream. It's a dream. You go to high school, you get a university degree. Yeah. There you go. You're ready to get married. You need to give birth at least to 3 children. It is a kind of a, you know, the thing. Yeah. It's a template. Which, I have to be honest with you, I could never make peace with. No, and maybe that's why I've never dreamt about a big family, or I would be completely okay without having one, you know. But I always wanted a place where I could be whatever I felt I am, you know, and I feel like that here. Well, that's nice. Yep. Did you want to go into teaching right away, or what did you want to do once starting to work in Sweden? Yeah, well, it was kind of on the go. I was still like unsure, but like, and when I started, I fell in love, I would say. With teaching? Yeah, like, but I have to be honest with you, even in modeling, you mentioned before, like a bikini model, you know, you're naked a lot of, like, most of the time, like changing or whatever. I've done a lot of shootings in, you know, for underwear and bikinis, and I'm a shy person, but yeah, but the only way I can explain that, it's like having an alter ego, right? Where you're in character when you're on stage or doing a shoot. Yes. So this person, I'm not that person now, or this person is not me, and I would just disconnect. Right. And I think in some weird way that helped. Yeah. And you know, if at that point somebody told me, oh, you will sit in a classroom and teach people at some point, you know, in, I don't know, 10 years from now, or I would say you're crazy, because why would I do that? It's so boring. I always appreciated the job, but you know, it's just me standing in a classroom and doing, no, why would I do that? Yeah. That would be my answer. But I got, I don't know, attracted to that job super fast. And I cannot explain. It's not I have the situation again where when I come to the classroom,
I have this situation where I dive into my alter ego because I'm not the person that's the person that stands or sits here with you is not the same person that teaches.
Right.
And I don't know how good or bad that is, but I do turn into another person. And I don't know, because maybe the real me is a bit more shy about being, standing in front of so many people. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily easy to speak in front of people all the time, especially when you have, let's say, a new course starting or a bunch of people waiting for you for the first time in a classroom. It takes a lot of courage to just go there and like make them laugh and make them feel like, okay, this is good. Because mostly, you have people that, come and they're just, I just want to be here, get my presence in the school system and just go home. And, so there's a lot of work there. And like real me, I don't think I'm not that person, so I turn into somebody else.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I would say,
teaching is also a type of performer,
right?
Or a performance. So it makes a lot of sense to enter a character once you're in the classroom.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a lot of presentations that are oral examinations, and then I've had students asking me so many times, well, can you give me a piece of advice, why and how could I become better? You seem to, do it well. Can you give me some advice? I'm like, oh, honey, this is not me. I cannot but this is not me. Yeah. I mean, it is me, but it's some other me, Yeah. And, you just need to find your own way. I don't know how to explain it because, it's what I do. It does not define me. It's weird. The person that works at school and the person that I am in my private life are two different things. For example, I have a question for you. So we met what, a couple of months ago ish
in the classroom.
Yeah. So you at that point knew nothing about me. And now through this period of us getting, organizing this podcast and everything, getting the dates ready and everything, we connected through social media. And I need you to be honest with me. When you open my social media, which is a closed profile, you knew nothing about me. What did you think about me if you compare the first time you saw me, so in the classroom, and after that, where you saw my work from before? How did it change the way you see me?
That's a good question.
Be honest.
I will be 100% honest. I liked your energy the first time I saw you in the classroom because you came in with a big smile and you picked everybody up because, as you say, many people come in and are like, all right, let's get this over. This is adult education.
Yeah, a lot of yawning, especially if the morning lessons.
Yeah, exactly. And people kind of just want to, do what they need to do to get the grade and move on, which is normal human instinct. So to have a teacher come in and lift the spirits up, it's impressive because it's not easy to do. And I was impressed right away because you came in with a lot of energy. And that's probably why we're sitting here today, because I saw this is an interesting human being, because being able to pull that off is not easy.
It was the other me.
The teacher Maja.
Yeah.
Anyway, either way, I mean, if it's character or not, it's not easy to pull off. And you maintain that throughout the class, which is also not easy because, again, people do their thing and sometimes energy is low, and you just kept that positive attitude, and I really appreciated it. I don't know if anything changed when I saw your profile. I mean, I didn't know that you were a model, so I learned that. But I think you mentioned in class that you do like Pilates class as well. Yeah, you're a teacher in Pilates, so it wasn't that much of a stretch, I guess.
Oh, okay.
I think when I wrote to you, I thought you were in yoga, but then I saw that it was Pilates. So I guess seeing that, it wasn't like a huge shock or anything, but I thought, oh, this is very interesting. We need to talk about this.
There's a material here.
Yes. Yeah. Because obviously, as we talked about modeling a lot now, it's a very interesting world. One that I'm not very familiar with. So I definitely thought immediately, oh, I want to hear more about this.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I wouldn't say, I mean, whether it's a character or not, that I get the same kind of fun, happy energy from you, the real you, as I get from the first time I saw you in the classroom, where you bring a lot of energy.
Okay.
So yeah.
So I'm actually one person after all, not two personalities. One person.
I think not having at least a little bit of a split would be crazy. Like when you're in the classroom and the rest of you. You gotta have at least a little bit of distance, I think. Yeah,
I mean, honestly, why I was asking this question, first of all, was because, I get a lot of requests on Instagram from my students, and it never feels right to accept them because my profile is quite private, and I do have a lot of work from modeling world from before where you could see like my bikini pictures and all of that, and it just feels weird in a way, just to pass the hallway in school and like people seeing my bikini pictures, even though you have a social media has open gates for everybody, so we see everybody in everything, but I still feel weird about it. So you would be the first person that actually has entered this little world, and I was nervous about it. I don't know why. Maybe partially because we were thought that we should act a certain way throughout history, especially women, a big pressure on women, that you can't be this and that at the same time. You can't be good looking and you can't be smart. And, what will people think about you? So I would really, I would reject any kind of, I would say, attempt of connection from the side of my students, even though I really like them. I love my students. I make great connections with my students. But a side of me wants to keep that part for myself. Why? Do I think that I will be looked in a different way? Probably. In all honesty, it's a bit strange. Once you see your teacher in a bikini and to come to a lesson, it just feels weird.
Oh, I completely understand. It shouldn't in a perfect world. Yeah. But I completely understand that it does. Yeah. I think it's inevitable. I mean, so it makes a lot of sense to keep the profile private and reject students' requests.
But I also at the same time want to be this unapologetic person and version of myself and live my truth. I love my pictures. I'm proud of my work, and I don't want to. I don't have a need to show it to the world. That's why it's very private, even though, come on, in all honesty, it's out there.
Yeah,
it's on the internet, regardless if it's locked or not, it's there. But, just here.
Yeah.
I don't like that. And just, there are many like negative feelings about it. So yes, I did feel a bit, but okay, I kind of have this good energy about you, so I'm like, okay, nothing will happen regarding that. But it just it did make me feel, okay, what would he feel now? Or what kind of questions does he want to ask me now? What does he think? Maybe he has a different opinion about me, which is again my problem, not yours.
But it's very interesting because you also didn't know me. I mean,
exactly.
We sat through one course together, and it's not like we get to know each other a lot during that. So it's very understandable to at least consider who is this person and should I accept? What made you in the end accept and how do you feel about that decision now? I always try to go with the gut feeling. And in so many situations, it has proven to be right. So I would say the gut feeling was, you can do it. Seems like harmless.
But yes, it did seem harmless, and I do have a respect for you, so I felt that it won't be such an issue. And of course, I'm not your teacher anymore, so it's
also true.
Yep. So we're good. So yeah, I would say I always go with the gut feeling.
Yeah.
Had I sensed something was off or weird, I would probably react in some way. The new me, the improved version of me.
Yeah.
Not healed, but in the process of healing me.
Yeah.
I would say that.
Our gut feeling is there for a reason.
Absolutely.
It is
absolutely
hundreds of thousands of years of evolution.
Yeah.
It's something that you need to listen to, even if you have no idea why you feel it. There's something to it.
Yeah, I try. I don't know about you, but I do try to rely on it. And there were moments where I would just disregard it. And because I have to be honest with you, I sabotage myself a lot. So I'm a self-sabotage queen. So sometimes I overthink. So how would you define self-sabotage? What is self-sabotaging for you, for example? And then I will tell you what. Do you ever self-sabotage yourself?
I don't know if I do. But I did recently go against my gut feeling on something.
Okay.
And I knew that I did. I immediately had the gut feeling, but it was an opportunity, and I was like, maybe this can lead to something. Maybe it's worth, whatever that gut feeling is. It was not.
Okay, so yeah, okay.
My gut feeling was 100% correct.
Yes.
And after that, I was like, okay, I'm never doing that again. So
we'll listen to you.
Yeah, so now, like, I was. It's funny. I was at another event, like, fairly close after that, and I just had like this tiny itch of this is not right, and I was like, nope, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I don't care what anyone thinks. I'm out. You guys figure this shit out without me.
Yeah, this is the level that I'm trying to get to, because I'm still like compensating.
Yeah.
But it's good that you don't self-sabotage yourself.
Yeah,
I would say.
Tell me about that. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think that would be my personal view of. I would say it maybe started through being maybe coping mechanism since I was so young when I started like traveling alone and like being on my own, and in order to protect myself from, let's say, undesirable outcomes, I would sabotage them before things would go wrong. I would make them wrong, or overthink the bad outcomes. And I would feel that, I would cut it in the specific moment before it gets bad. Maybe it would never even go bad, but, I would just like stop it because you will not hurt me. I will stop this, or I will hurt you before it happens. Right. So in many situations, I've done that before. I know myself perfectly, and the overthinking and everything. And sometimes I confuse that with the gut feeling. And sometimes when I feel my gut's telling me something, I also at the same time am telling myself, okay, you need to calm down. You need to stop overthinking, and you need to just go with the flow. See where it takes you. And I need to do it for myself, because I really want to get rid of that feeling that I really need to have everything under control. Did I mention that I was kind of a control freak also? Yes, so there you go. Combination of everything you can imagine. So yes, these are some patterns that I see in myself, and I'm trying to, I wouldn't say fix it, but kind of like balance out stuff, not to control, like let myself go sometimes. And I don't think you can enjoy in life if you feel the need to have everything in control, to think of negative outcomes all the time. And so I'm trying to change that. So yes, I do confuse gut feeling with overthinking sometimes. And I'm like, okay, this is just me and my head confusing everything. And I'm confusing myself.
Right.
By doing this. So I will just, let myself go. But I've done stuff like that, and it was a gut feeling again. But also I've done stuff just based on my overthinking, and,
Has the overthinking started without something giving you a bad gut feeling?
I always overthink.
Okay.
My God, like my brain never stops working, and when I fall asleep, I dream all the time. I've never slept without dreaming, so it's like a constant thing in my head, always something. I would love to disconnect.
Oh yeah, same here.
Like I would love to just have a switch in my head and not to think. But at the same time, I feel like it sometimes gives me some more productive time. So I'm trying to channel it into something. If I cannot get rid of it, because honestly, I do want to start with more like meditation and more, breath work and stuff like that, which I feel like I don't have time for in my hectic schedule, especially when my child is with me. Maybe that would, ground me in some way. But I do want to work on it. If I cannot change it, then I want to channel that energy into something else. I'm hungry for, let's say, when it comes to reading, I get attached to, texts, and I love reading. And then I get I think so much about these texts, about meaning of the text. How can I apply them in everyday's life, and so on and so on. Like the head is always working.
Yeah.
But as I said, it can be channeled into something good. For example, in my work, I can use it as something that I can share with my students, and so on and so on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely relate.
How about you?
My brain is on all the time.
Yeah?
Yeah, I have a lot of trouble falling asleep or sleeping in general, because it's just circus up there.
Do you do anything about it?
Everything.
I mean, do you think it's necessarily, I wouldn't call it wrong, but is it overwhelming, or are you keeping like everything under control?
I mean, when it comes to the sleeping part, I've struggled throughout my life pretty much, and I have better periods and worse periods, and when I'm in a bad period, it's just I just struggle both falling asleep, staying asleep, and like waking up too early, all of it. At every point in the sleep cycle, I mess up in a bad period. But when I'm in a good period, no problem. Then I just pass out, and it goes like that for like 2 or 3 weeks, good period, a week.
Is it affected, if you don't mind me asking, by external factors or just?
I haven't been able to find any cause other than knowing that I'm in a bad period.
Okay, so nothing that presses you?
No, I mean, sure, something can happen. I don't know, I'm in a conflict with someone I care about or something like that. Of course, that will set thoughts in motion. But thoughts are set in motion even without such events. True. And when I know I'm in a bad period, I know I'm in a bad period. And my brain tells me, you're in a bad period. You will struggle sleeping. And then and then I struggle sleeping.
So you're
and then I get to, I struggle for a few nights, and then I'm just like so exhausted that I actually sleep really well, maybe sleep really well for 2 nights. Yeah. And then I know I'm in a good period. And then my brain doesn't do the stupid thing where it's like, you're not going to sleep tonight because you're thinking. Then I sleep really well. And then I have a night where I'm like, I wonder if I'm gonna struggle sleep tonight. Fuck.
It started.
and then I'm there. It's so silly because I can even think something like, oh, I know I'm not gonna struggle sleeping tonight because I'm in a good period. And then my brain is like, are you sure about that?
Yeah. That little guy on your shoulder.
When I'm in a good period, I don't even think about sleep.
Yeah.
That's a good period.
Yeah, it just goes naturally.
It goes natural. Yeah. As soon as I start thinking, even if I think, oh, you're in a good period, you're fine, it's over. Then I know, all right, we have one of those weeks ahead of us. Fuck.
But how much time do you ever analyze, I would say analyze, do you think about your mental health? Like we do think a lot about our physical health. We go to doctors whenever we're sick. But I'm glad, I don't know about you, but I'm glad that the stigma around mental health has, is slowly disappearing. Yeah. But still, I think, there's many people need to work. How about you? Do you think that you think enough about how you feel and where all of this is coming from?
I went through depression when I was like 23 to 25 years old, and that definitely made me think about these things a lot. So I've analyzed my own thinking and my own feelings to an extreme degree, I would say.
Oh, okay.
Due to those years. And after that, I mean, it was very helpful. It sucked, but it was very helpful. Yeah. And after that, I haven't really struggled again with mental health. Meditation has been a big part of it. But really, for me, the biggest part of it was digging. All right, where does this come from? Where does this insecurity come from? You know, and just go all the way back. And as it usually is, it's usually something in your childhood where you're like, oh yeah, that person said that thing and that made me feel this way. Yeah. And once you do that enough, once you get to all of those, you're like, all right, I don't need to be insecure anymore because that was 20, 30 years ago. Like,
my inner child screaming.
Yeah. Forget about it. Yeah. So that was the biggest thing for me to actually like dig into my consciousness and figure out where do these things come from. But yeah, meditation for sure.
Do you still practice a lot, or not as much as you want to?
I started meditating because of my sleep issues.
Okay.
So I don't want to meditate because that means I'm struggling with my sleep. Okay. You know what I mean? I've come to associate it, yes, which is unfortunate. But I had one of those meditation apps where you got a streak going and all that stuff. Okay. I meditated for like 2 years every day. And then I went through probably my worst period of sleep, bad sleep in my life, where I just couldn't sleep for, 3 months. I struggled. Okay. And I just got so pissed off at my meditation app. Okay. and my meditate, I'm like, this is not doing anything. I need to stop this. Now I'm just doing it to keep the streak going, you know? Okay. And that is a downside of having one of those apps.
What is it? What kind of app do you use? What kind of data do you keep there? Is it just how much you meditate or what?
Yeah, only that.
Okay, so only, it's...
but I realized that I was just doing it to get the number up, and then I had to stop.
Oh, so the purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Nothing spiritual about the app.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was all in my head for sure. Yeah. But after that... that kind of ruined the meditation for me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no.
I took it out on meditation.
Yeah.
But every now and then when I'm in a bad period, I start meditating and it does help.
Yeah.
Okay, then I start sleeping better and then I stop meditating.
Yeah. So there's no consistency in that.
No, unfortunately, no.
But are you consistent in other things in your life? Or?
I would say so, yeah. I'm fairly structured and disciplined as a person. Yeah. And yeah, meditation helped me become even more structured. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's just the whole sleep thing. Yeah. Bad sleep ruins everything. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I have so many tricks to fall asleep that have worked over the many years that I've tried to get myself to sleep, and they work, and I'm like, this is great. And then they stop working.
They are worn out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that thing is ruined because as soon as I know that thing, there's nothing magical about that thing. Okay. It's over.
Yeah, you're playing games with your mind also.
100%.
Okay. So
the only reason why I can't sleep is games with my mind.
Okay.
That's the thing. Like I can have had a tough workout or not have worked out at all. I can have been social or non-social. None of it matters. It's all about the game in my head. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, but still maybe finding a pattern or knowing when this happens could, make it disappear. I don't know. I'm not too smart about it.
I hope so. But it's been 30 years now.
Okay, so it's your life, basically. Yes.
I've come to accept it. I'm not. The thing is, I try to structure my life where, if it happens, it's not a disaster.
Okay.
So I've had the kind of work where it doesn't matter when I work. So I don't need to set an alarm. So if I have a bad night, it's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't have an alarm.
True.
Just sleep.
True.
Maybe you're still gonna be tired tomorrow.
True.
But it's fine. The next day,
True.
you'll be back.
Yeah.
So yeah.
As long as you're functioning.
I'm instead of fixing the problem, I'm changing everything else around it.
The problem. Okay, but
that's healthy, right?
Yeah, very. I'm no expert, so I will just whatever works for you. Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I've tried. Actually, I got a good tip recently that might work.
Like,
think of a word.
Okay.
Like, let's say podcast.
Okay. Very convenient.
Yes. And then you take the first letter, P.
Okay.
And then you think of random words that start with P. And then you just exhaust all the words you can think of starting with P. And then you go to the next letter, O.
Okay.
And then you think of all the words you can imagine that start with the letter O. And then you keep going like that. And eventually you pass out.
That's like counting sheeps.
It's kind of like that.
Like with letters.
But it's less structured, which makes it more dreamlike.
Ah, okay.
When you just throw out random words, apparently it tricks the brain to go into whatever the dream condition is. Because that's kind of how dreams work, whereas random stuff fires up.
Okay.
So it's a way to get to that state, force yourself to get to that state.
Wow. I've never heard about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
Try
Good
it
to
out.
know.
Try it
I
out.
don't have problems with sleeping. I've had when Nico was born, Nico is my son, I had insomnia for 2 years, I guess.
Oh wow.
And I struggled a lot. But now I sleep. I would
That's
say I'm a occasional 5 a.m. person.
Mm-hmm.
I would say occasional because...
As in staying up until 5 or getting up at 5?
Getting up at 5.
Okay.
No, staying up, 5 in the afternoon. I fall asleep 8:30 or 9 every night. When my son goes to sleep, I go to sleep.
Yeah.
Man. I love to, I don't like the sleeping as a process, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like to get good sleep.
Oh
and
yeah,
women,
it's the best.
Yeah, women need a bit more than men.
Oh man, women, men, I don't care. It's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, but we're so, 7 to 8 hours, and then, I don't function with 7 hours. I don't function with 8. So I have to get in 9 to 10, I would say, to function. And for that, I need to go to sleep.
Yeah.
If I want to do my morning training before my work, let's say when I'm alone, then I have this possibility of getting up early. So I will wake up 5, I will go to gym. And I always felt, before I came to Sweden, I always felt, ooh, I'm so above average when it comes to, getting up. These people who get up at 5 are really rare until I came to Sweden and I barged into a gym full of people, 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nothing is special about you, girl. That was one thing that I really like here.
Yeah.
So, I would get up and, do my things and, just it determines my day.
Yeah.
The day is so much better.
Oh, absolutely.
It's crazy. I mean, there's the 5 a.m.ers or 6 people that wake up at that time, and then there's people who cannot understand the people who get up at 5. So why would you if you don't have to? Like, what's wrong with you? I always get these looks like, are you crazy? Why would you willingly wake up at 5? I'm a coffee addict as well.
Oh, yeah?
Not like in amounts, but like, oh my God, smell of coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm good. So yes, I would say I function well when I sleep.
Yeah.
And now I have no problems because
That's great.
if you wake up at 5, you're dead by 9 p.m.
So is that the trick? I need to get a kid and not sleep for 2 years, and then I'll be like, all right.
You can try. It's not cheap.
That would be the one sleep hack that I haven't tried yet.
Yeah, it comes with
Having
limitations, and you have to like prepare your pocket as well.
Yeah, and it would be troublesome if I'm like, well, this doesn't work either.
Yeah, true. That's not a reason to have children.
Exactly.
Find other reasons, but this will be just like
a bonus.
let's say fixing. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
yeah, damage control.
Don't get a kid just to get better sleep 2 years later.
No, I wouldn't recommend that, because I wouldn't say that, yeah, this situation like is the same for everybody. Everybody struggles in different ways when it comes to children. So yeah, some sleep, some don't. So yeah, my son sleeps, so I can't say anything about it. Yeah,
that's great.
Maybe yours would be like up like his father all night, so you would get even more problems. So please don't try anything.
Who knows?
Yes,
I mean,
you never know.
It is a family thing, the bad sleep.
Really?
Yeah.
So you have a genetic code.
Oh yeah. Most members of my family struggle sleeping.
Yeah, but it's also, have you tried to get some professional opinion on it? Just because it's genetical?
No.
Okay.
I don't think I have. I mean, I've gotten sleeping pills.
Okay.
I stay away from those because I don't want to get addicted.
Absolutely. I'm also like this.
Yeah. I know that if I start with that, I'm gonna love them.
It's not you, it's the pill.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm because sleeping well is so important. I know I'll just keep doing it.
Yeah.
But I do have sleeping pills that are Propavan, that are like fairly mild, non-addictive.
Okay.
They say. And it's good to have them. Even if I don't use them, it's like one of those things where I know. Yeah, sometimes I do.
Yeah.
I took one last night, or half last night.
There you
go. But it's one of those things where even if you're not taking it, if you know you have it, you're a little bit at ease, because I know that, all right, I could take it if I want to.
Yeah. Yeah, but are you one of those people that avoids taking painkillers when you're in pain?
Yeah, I don't want any drugs if I don't need them.
Okay, if you really don't need them.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I stay away from that stuff.
True. Yeah, me too. Like when it comes to painkillers, no, like a big no. But I don't even have pain, I would say, generally, so I wouldn't be the right person to say much about it. But I don't like the process of, just like relying so much on medicine unless you really need to.
People are like, oh, I have a hangover, I need to take a pain pill. I'm like, dude, wait.
Drink milk. Don't drink alcohol.
Especially when it's something like that. Like, no, you deserve this.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I feel about myself. Like, no, you've earned this. Now take it.
These are consequences.
Unless it's like serious pain, which I'll respect for that. But if it's just like minor pain, I want to feel it because I want to know. Yeah. Like, I don't want to dull it with something synthetic and then I have no idea that I have a problem. True. Yeah. That's how I reason.
Yeah. No. A certain amount of pain you have to go through.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Yes, I don't have I have the same opinion when it comes to pills, but I also have two autoimmune disorders, so I have to take pills, yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, I have thyroid issues.
Thyroid?
Thyroid issues, gland,
Sköldkörtel.
Yes.
In Swedish, right?
Yes, true. And so I have to take pills. I've been taking pills since I was 20, so almost 20 years now. And it never stops being annoying, because you have to take it first thing in the morning, and then you have to wait a bit until you have your first meal or coffee. You get used to it, but never actually really. It's just
What happens if you don't?
Well, since I have autoimmune disorder, it's not curable, and thyroid controls a big part of our metabolism and our organs, so everything just starts slowly slowing down, and years I would say, if we talk about years of not handling this situation in the right way, it can cause serious problems.
Right.
Nowadays, I've read that every third woman has issues with thyroid, but then again, some are curable because not all of them are autoimmune disorders, but then in that case you are tied to lifelong medication use. Yes,
I have an autoimmune disease that how do you say it appeared 2 years ago. I didn't have any issues before, but then 2 years ago it started with like my skin drying on my fingers. And first I thought it was just like some kind of skin condition, so I went to see a specialist for that. But then suddenly my joints started swelling and like hurting quite a lot.
Okay.
So it turns out it's something more like what do you call it? I'm so used to speaking in Swedish about this. Rheumatism. Rheumatism.
Yeah.
So it's something similar to that, but mine is called dermatomyositis.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's basically my immune system attacking various parts of my body.
Same. Yeah.
So I'm also taking daily medications.
Okay.
So
is it some kind of hormones or
mine are probably, I think, more of the chemo type.
Okay. Is it very, I would say, aggressive? No.
I first received a fairly aggressive treatment where I actually got intravenous chemo for 3 months every other week because it had attacked my lungs by the time that they figured it out. I didn't have any symptoms, like I was working out and I was fine, but apparently it was attacking my lungs, so that's why I was hospitalized, and then they gave me chemo for a few months. Since then I've been taking something not as strong but regularly, and I will soon be taking another IV medicine that it's somewhere in between those two in strength, and hopefully that'll clean up the last bit of the lung changes, because there's still some of it, but it's better than before apparently.
Yeah, I mean it is scary. I think I'm not sure about, but have you checked with your family? Is it some kind of genetical thing as well?
There's rheumatism in my family, and they say there's a correlation between the two, but it's not necessarily directly inheritable. Yeah. But if someone in your family has rheumatism, there's a higher chance that you get this.
And it can just appear whenever. Yeah. But it's also can be also, for example, in my case, triggered by some major, let's say, stress. So you never know.
Have you ever tried something like fasting or intermittent fasting?
No, I've read about it a lot. It messes up with hormones, and I'm really afraid.
Yeah, maybe it's not the same.
What I know, and that's based only on what I read, is that it's not the same for women and men. Okay. It does mess up women's hormones, and I really hate playing with them because I've had problems. Yeah. So I mean, when it comes to fasting, I would say that I do fast at least 14 hours regularly without thinking about it. Okay. Yeah, so if let's say I eat 6 in the evening, I will not probably eat before 8, 9 next day. So,
Yeah, I tried intermittent fasting.
How many hours?
I only eat between 12 and 7.
Okay.
And nothing, like you're supposed to stay away, not even like a little bit, because it's not about the amount in between, it's about letting the body start some processes when it thinks it doesn't have food. Okay. And it helped me with my joints more than any of the medications, which is crazy.
Okay. And that means no coffee?
Black coffee, fine, but no milk or sugar.
No, I'm not a black coffee club person. Yeah. I drink latte. So no, I mean, yes, I would lie if I said that I've never done this, like eating 7 and then starting without planning, but I just the situation with thyroid is so, I would say, delicate that I wouldn't want to do something that will trigger something else, because I also had very low count of red blood cells. That's also something that comes as a autoimmune disorders, because as I understand, it's if you have one, most likely you will develop another one in your lifetime. Right. Your body is just inflamed all the time, and then you just like fighting against itself. Yeah. And but you find a way, I guess, like through right diet, exercising, and being mindful of what you put in yourself, on yourself, and in your head, can help. Absolutely. Oh, for sure. The stress, number one, regardless of how much we eat and what we eat. First of all, the quality of the food, of what kind of, let's say, habits we have in life if we don't sleep, and, if we stress a lot. I mean, what do we get?
Yeah.
Nothing much.
Yeah.
But, whatever we can. I mean, I think we cannot think about things 100% all the time. Nobody can have everything under control.
No, of course.
All the time. But trying to be, conscious of, let's say, having these things in your mind for the most of the time, I think is really important, especially when you struggle with stuff like this. Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree
50
completely.
cent. Yes.
What is Pilates? I only know about the big Pilates ball.
Yeah.
That's all I know about Pilates.
So Pilates is I would say, full body exercise.
Okay.
And many people just, think of yoga at the same time and think that involves a lot of stretching, which it does, but primarily it's a strength training with your own body, sometimes even weight, but not, I would say, if I say real weight, it sounds weird, but
extra, add-on weight.
Just, a bit. We'll say lighter weights.
Yeah.
Invented by a man for men originally. I would say something that I would say just helped me a lot with my own body and how I understand my body and what my limitations are. And I think I had problems, for example, in a traditional training. I've tried many things. One thing that I see that I do not function well with is high intensity trainings. It elevates my cortisol. Running does the same thing. And I had this idea before I started exploring and learning that something is wrong with me. Why can't I run? Why don't I enjoy this? Because there's so many people that enjoy and they're so happy and everybody talks about this. But I just get frustrated and tired. It's not that I don't have energy, of course, with my thyroid issues and everything that is questionable, but it's just these high intensity trainings were not a thing for me. And then when I discovered Pilates, which is, I wouldn't say low intensity, but it is kind of, you don't jump a lot or at all, but it takes a lot of strength if you do it properly. I was trained as a classical Pilates, so it's very, what we see today can be a lot of contemporary versions of what was, but we were educated in classical Pilates, which are original exercises made by Joseph Pilates himself 100 years ago. So it requires a lot of discipline and strength and control, and you just need to have that inner, I would say, I was never able to find that inner corset or transversus, the deepest, I would say, abdominals in let's say conventional exercise. Let's say when you go to gym, you never thought about the posture and like how to properly engage your core, and that's how I learned through Pilates. And then I just had this, I loved it and it helped me a lot. And then I always thought, maybe I should do something about it, because I do practice every day. But then again, I had this idea, I love it, but maybe if it becomes my profession, maybe I will stop loving it, because now I'm enjoying it and I don't want it to be my job and then start hating it. I always had this, mess in my head. And also at the same time thinking, okay, now I like it, but also, maybe I'm too old to do it, I'm not 20 anymore.
Yeah.
Is it a bit too late for me? Should I not? And the time just passes, and you just think this and this. And then I just wake up one day and, let's do it.
Nice.
Let's do it and let's go for it. And yeah, so I got my certificate, and my mentor, she's actually from New York, and she was amazing. Actually, she comes from the same studio that Joseph Pilates left to one of the famous ballerinas that actually took over his studio when he died. So she was the second generation after Pilates. Yeah. So to have her as a mentor was amazing.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and in classical Pilates, you don't practice with your students. You only cue most of the time.
What does that mean?
Cueing is leading by your voice.
Okay.
So let's say somebody comes to your class, they don't know what Pilates is. You need to put them in positions and try to explain with your words so they know exactly what they will do. And it's sometimes really hard. So in a way, you have to master so many things at the same time to be able to just put everything together so it functions. I think it's a whole process. But as an exercise, I think Pilates is a way of living. It's not just, exercise. Same as yoga. Yoga has its own, it's magic. It's magical, I would say. But I do still, I go to gym. And I do weight training as well. So it's kind of like a combination. But I was always active. So for me, it's like a no-brainer. I have to start a day with exercise. It becomes an addiction after a while. Like, I think I'm past the routine thing. Like, this is my routine, so I will do it. I have a severe addiction on when it comes to movement. And it's when I'm abroad, I go to gyms. I remember when I lived in Beijing, I would go, let's say, fix my visa in Hong Kong or something like that. I go to Hong Kong 2 days, I go to gym in Hong Kong. So it was really like all the time, and people are like, why are you like this? What's wrong with you? I mean, can't you just enjoy?
Yeah.
And it was always me, gym. Wherever I go, gym. Wherever I go, I run. I come to another city in China, which I don't know. I put my headphones and I go run in the middle of the night. It was, are you crazy? You don't know this place. I know, but I need to move, you know? And I feel like that this relationship I have with being active or movement was the one thing that I could carry with myself on all these journeys. And I always thought that wherever I am, I always felt at home because my home is within me, and I could always carry movement with me. So I would feel like home. Yeah. So it's a very big and essential part of my life, I would say.
Yeah, that's
so this was
nice.
Just like naturally evolving. I would say it was part of the process. Like I like this and I enjoyed it for so many years. Let's try to, make something out of it. Not necessarily that I need to have a studio or to, have this, big platform on Instagram, because I feel like it's all over the place now.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We had this craze with yoga before, and now I think it's Pilates and it's everywhere and it's a bit suffocating. That's just me.
Yeah. So
I just feel like, I will let it like sit for a while now. I'm not teaching anywhere right now.
Okay.
It's just my personal practice. But, I want to find my channel. I don't just want to have this, Instagram profile and, just like do exercises and sell exercises because everybody's doing it. Nothing so special about it. And I don't find it challenging. That's all. I don't find it challenging. So I'm just trying to, find myself in it.
Do you have an idea of what you would want to do? What would be challenging?
Well, I would love to live somewhere where the weather is not like this. And have like something related to, I would say, I would love to combine, the movement, healthy living. I think we're all going back to basics regarding our nutrition. We see that however we were living is not sustainable. So, we're going back to growing food, and I'm happy about it because like when I go back to my country, when I meet my parents, like the fact that you can go to garden and pick your own tomatoes and make a salad and buy eggs from the neighbor that has a egg farm, for me is like I don't need a car. You know, you don't have to buy me a car. Give me like a kilo of tomatoes from your garden. I'm good, you know?
Yeah.
So I loved the idea of that. And for that, I'm not sure if I can, you know, live that dream here. So I'm still like in my head, you know, with these ideas, and just let's see where it goes.
Plotting the next big bang.
Yeah. First, you know, I have a friend and we have like ideas. She's a yoga teacher. And we always have these, we have to make a plan because she's also somewhere there in these ideas. So, we had an idea actually about using Turkey as a market. When I say using Turkey, this really sounds bad. Like we would say we see potential there.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but let's see, when maybe not the best time now, because it's obviously not a good moment in the country, economically, politically. So, you know, you have to, you know, starting a business, you have to be smart, I guess. You can risk and, you know, do whatever, but still, if you're aware of the issues, I think it's not smart. But at the same time, since I, you know, in private life, I went through many changes and divorce and, you know, starting on my own again and having so much to do, I feel like now I need to just like put the, you know, everything a bit in its place, and then, you know, maybe some ideas will come.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, you're a very impressive individual, I will say. I already thought teaching in Swedish as someone who came to Sweden just 8 years ago is very impressive on its own.
I mean, that was scary.
That is, I bet, and you do a great job teaching. So, and now hearing your story, getting to know you a little bit, I'm even more impressed. So, thank you so much for sharing your story with me.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it a lot.
Thank you.
I usually wrap things up asking, where can people find you if you want to share something with your Pilates, but since you're not teaching now,
not yet. Maybe I will come back and have another opportunity when stuff start getting a bit more serious.
Absolutely. Let me know.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yes.
And thank you for listening. See you next time. Bye-bye.